evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have a special treat for you today. We have a new house band with a new dimension in rock and roll. We have the one, the only, Dragon Sound!
Hi guys, welcome to a new winter, Cults and Culture, and today with me is Dan, Dreadful Dan. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm not Dreadful Dan today. I think for the purposes of this discussion about film, I'm going to go by the moniker Silver Screen Dan G.
Only talking about films for old people. The silver screen. Okay. Yeah, because today we're talking about a film. We're talking about a film called Miami Connection. And yeah, you said that you'd heard of this film before you watched it. Is that right?
Yes. I remember it from a few years ago because there's a cinema in London called the Prince Charles, which kind of does screenings of old films and some like cult classics and things. And I think there was a bit of press around like this film had been discovered, maybe it had been lost, and they were doing some screenings.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I'll touch upon that a bit later. But for people who don't know, Miami Connection was made in 1987 by Y.K. Kim, who is... I just love this film so much. So he produced it, he wrote it, he stars in it. He's also, you may notice, he's the Korean guy who looks about 50. Yeah. Guess which one he is when you watch the film. Yeah, the small Asian 50-year-old who goes to high school. Apparently, he'd only watched 6 films before he made this.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
That's what he said.
What the hell kind of credentials did he have when he went to the producers?
Well, I'll touch upon this story a bit later. But yeah, I'd really like to know what those 6 films are. If you had to, what would you say?
Yeah.
What would you say are the 6 films that he watched going into this?
I think maybe he watched Scarface 6 times.
Yeah.
And then combines
Possibly.
it with his love of 1980s soft rock.
Or soft rock as it was known back then.
Obviously, kung fu, some kind of kung fu films.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe he's gone, right, I've seen Scarface, Enter the Dragon, maybe some inspirational 1980s film about a band that makes it. Yeah, and he's just like mushed them up together, and
it's got to be some high school stuff there, some kind of Breakfast Club.
Yeah,
it's kind of John Hughes thing going on.
Yeah, it's a real heady brew actually of some of the more popular genres of the day.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know what they were. Unsurprisingly, and I'll come on to this as I said a bit later, it was an absolute flop. But I have to say, I've watched it 3 times before this, and it is, each time I watch it, I love it a little bit more. And that's saying something, because the first time I watched it, I was obsessed with it. I've actually got so the name of the band that they're in the thing is Dragon Sound, and I've actually got a T-shirt.
No.
Dragon Sound T-shirt. Yeah.
When did you first see it?
I first saw it about 3 years ago, actually, as well. But it was at my mate did a little film day, and it's one of those things where you can kind of pop in and pop out, and it's just in his living room.
Yeah.
And I went down, and he put this on, and I kind of had read a little bit about it before going in, just because to see what the films were about they were showing. And I saw the trailer, and I was like, "This looks fucking amazing!" So I made sure I was there to see it, and yeah. I was blown away. I was blown away by not only how it was so ridiculous, but also because it was so fun It was relentless.
Yeah.
It was so stupid, and it just had so many different aspects of it that I just thought this was great. And by the end of it, I genuinely was like, I could sit and watch that all over again. So it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way, actually. It's such an audacious conceit, like the idea of the film. It's so ridiculous, but at the same time, it's then sort of executed in the same way, in a way that's ridiculous, tons of energy. And I suppose that's part of the, the benefit of having a project so totally owned by one person. It's bonkers, and it's been made in a bonkers way, and so it all kind of translates and works. Yeah,
it's incredible. So I recommend people do go out and watch it, but I'm going to talk about the plot here and what happens, because it really, I had to write it down as I was watching it to make sense of what was actually happening, because it gets really confused. They try and throw so much stuff into that. I say he tries to throw so much stuff into it. But yes, I'm going to, it starts with literally like, I believe it actually says somewhere in Miami. So it's not even a location. So you just know it's somewhere in Miami. And basically there's a bunch of guys with Uzis, and they're like, it looks like there's a drug deal going out, and some suits turn up, a deal is about to go down. And this is like classic 80s. Everyone looks 80s. They've got this real, ridiculous OTT fashion sense that kind of resonates throughout the entire film.
There's some great hairstyles.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And just literally their outfits. And sometimes it's like what they're not wearing, like what they've decided to like expose. It's just so weird. And then... this is great. So this is like 5 seconds into the film. Ninjas on motorcycles. And then it cuts away to this like a really or conspicuous whatever white ninja. So completely, it's all like dark, and he's wearing white. But okay, he's the leader or whatever. But surely that's going against the whole point, trying to be like secret.
Yeah.
And then it's got a classic kind of action movie, some cocaine is uncovered. This guy takes a taste of it and nods like, good stuff, whatever. No one said anything yet. And then the ninjas attack and they slaughter them. And they're all like doing this thing where they just keep like poking their head out all the time, like a whack-a-mole. It's so weird. So at first you're like, okay, there's some bad guys. The ninjas are the good guys. And they've, got the drugs, and they steal the coke, they escape, and then it cuts to this scene where they've like all returned back to HQ, and the white ninja is annoyed because they got the coke and not the money, and like he literally says like, where's the money? And they're like all looking at each other like, who got the money? And then he's like, actually, I got it.
What a card.
Yeah, make no more mistakes. It's like, was that a lesson? No, so let me get straight. They went in, killed everyone, and took the drugs and forgot the money, and then you took the money anyway. So they're probably all looking at each other going, I thought he got the money. Didn't he take the money? I saw him take it. Oh, I've got the money. Yeah, we know. We saw you. We saw you take it because you're the only person in white. Yeah, so that's weird. So it opens out on that really weird scene. And then you have the actual intro, the title sequence. And you see this band playing while the motorcycle ninjas are now unmasked, riding down the road. And this is your first look at Dragon Sound, who are our heroes of the film. And now we're in Orlando, apparently, and the ninja bikers turn up. The leader, who's this really like old Korean guy, I'm guessing again, talks to Jeff. Now, Jeff is the other bad guy. He's like the leader of the non-ninja bad guys, the leader of the kind of like thuggish gang. And they go to see the band play at this club. and they're playing. Now this is Friends Forever. They're playing, and this has to be one of the best songs ever written, ever.
This was killer. An absolutely killer tune. What was lovely about these scenes of the band performing in the club was that they went on and on and on. They didn't just give a little flavour of the song.
It's the whole song.
The whole fucking song. Like, about 5 minutes.
Yeah. But it's worth it. Like, literally, like, if they'd cut that song any sooner, I'd been like, oh, I wish they'd played the whole thing. And I'm going to play the song for you now, a little taste of the song, because it is so good. Have a listen. So yeah, that was Friends Forever, and randomly there was a so for the game Far Cry 3 there was a DLC attached to it, and I think it was also a standalone game in its own right. You didn't have to have the Far Cry 3 game to play it, but it was called Blood Dragon, and it riffed on a lot of 80s B-movie stuff, and the main character in it is Michael Biehn, who's, you know, in Terminator, he's Reese in Terminator, he's in Aliens, you know, people know who he is. And I think Power Glove did the soundtrack for it. I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it's Power Glove. And they basically remastered and re-released this song. So there's a very clean, high quality version of it out there. And I did actually go to listen to it recently, and it's not on Spotify anymore. But you should be able to find it. But yeah, it was part of that soundtrack for that game. And I didn't realise that at the time till afterwards. And yeah, it comes from this film. It's this amazing work of art. What I also love is that at that gig, everyone's clapping out of time.
Everyone's having a great time, though. I mean, that club looks really cool. You just want to be there.
And it's so funny because, like, they clearly, especially like YK Kim, whatever his name is, they clearly don't know how to play the instruments. And whilst they're playing,
I saw them playing them. I heard their rockin' grooves. What are you talking about?
At one point, the main guy, YK Kim, hasn't even got his guitar on. He's holding the guitar strap isn't around his neck. He's just holding the guitar. He's just moving it around.
So, hang on. Are you telling me these actors aren't trained musicians?
Well, no, actually. So the main guy, you know, the guy with the moustache and the little afro, who sings.
The lead singer of the band.
He's the composer. It's his music.
No.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's his. So yeah, that he is a trained musician. Is actually the songs are his.
So that's
apparently
how he got the role, presumably.
Well, yeah. He all the people that are in the film are actually YK Kim's students. So they're all people who go to his taekwondo club. And part of the whole thing was that he was like to his students, you know, yeah, we're going to make this film together. You're all going to be in it. We're going to, you know, put you on the big screen and all this stuff. But yeah, so they are. He's an actual musician, the main guy. But yeah,
that's really interesting because that answers another question that I had, which was kind of like, are these all trained taekwondo guys? Because they seem to be pulling off a lot of moves throughout the film.
Yes.
And at the same time, I'm looking at them and thinking, they're probably not the kind of people you'd necessarily cast in these kind of like leading man roles.
Yep.
So he's obviously gone with taekwondo talent first.
Overacting
looks
talent,
and acting ability second. And a musical prowess third.
Yep, pretty much. But that's the thing. So they go into this club, Dragon Sound are playing, and their whole thing is they do taekwondo on stage while they're playing music. And And this the lead ninja guy points to Jeff and asks if that's his sister, who's the girl on stage who's part of the band. And Jeff says, "Oh yeah, she's not supposed to be here, but we don't know why. She's in this band. She's at a club. She clearly looks of age." He's like, "Yeah, she's not supposed to be here." So okay, protective brother, fine. Like, don't you realise your sister's playing A in this band and B that night where you're doing this deal? But okay. And yeah, he sees her kiss the bassist, and he's like shaking his head, like, "Oh, don't approve of this." And yeah, so that's kind of set that up. So now we're at this high school or uni or whatever it is, and the band seem to be some kind of like local celebs, because everyone keeps, every time they walk past like a group of people, everyone's like, "Yeah, wow, hey, yeah," and all this stuff. And yeah, the sister Jane is doing some kind of computer programming course, and
those computers are amazing. Look,
proper 80s.
Yeah, if you're just interested in looking at a load of 80s vintage style, like, that scene's amazing.
Yeah. And what's great is that it opens out, and this guy's kind of giving this speech saying how their team came in fourth, and he's got the positions on the board, and there's only 4 teams.
I didn't notice that.
They came fourth. So essentially they came last.
But he gives them all a round of applause, right?
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it, I suppose.
But then we get the bassist appear again.
Yeah, so the bassist comes back and starts making these weird, like, silly faces, like this real goofball. She's loving it. She's looking at him thinking, "I'm going to fuck this guy later. He's so sexy."
Because I'm looking at him thinking, like, is this going to be like the kind of the geeky guy, or is he going to be like an asshole? Because he's just doing this really lame, like, weird pulling faces. But that's the art of seduction.
Yeah, he's this lanky streak of piss.
I mean, yeah.
It's so weird. And so they take this opportune time, and he asks if she has family. Like, they've never discussed it before. So no idea. They could have been just going out since last night, for all we know. He doesn't even know if she has family. And then she goes into this backstory about her brother pays for, who's Jeff, who we know. Her brother pays for everything, but for some reason, she doesn't like him.
What could the
doesn't elaborate on it?
Yeah, no. Well, mystery, intrigue, and
she quickly gives this thing about her parents who are both dead. And then who do they bump into? But coming in like Mad Max with like 100 cars, it's Jeff. Pulls into, what I really love as well is he pulls into a disabled bay. He comes in.
Nice touch.
And she goes, "Oh, this is my friend." He's like, "A friend?" And immediately punches. Immediately punches the bassist.
But that is then probably like the most brilliant sort of part of the film for me.
What, when
this is when
that dialogue scene?
This lanky loser and his like gang of mates are also kind of, they look like high school geeks that can be bullied. They're all trained taekwondo artists. And they can fight back against this like really, again, like really good like 80s kind of like street punk coke trading gang of nasty ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah.
And then you get that face-off, don't you? And it's like, it's classic. It's like West Side Story,
Yeah.
Or Romeo and Juliet.
The band. Romeo and Juliet. It is though. The band come out and help, and it is, oh my God, just this scene is one of the best ADR scenes ever, as in they've overdubbed the dialogue afterwards on top of the footage, and it doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense. You can't understand really what's being said. It is so fucking stupid. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to play a little bit of it now.
Are these bums your friends?
There's just some misunderstanding.
You don't understand. I'm her brother. When I tell you to leave her alone, leave her alone.
Whatever you say.
Just remember what I said if you don't want to get hurt.
You don't scare me at all.
Jane, I want to talk to you later.
Goodbye. Let's go.
So yeah, that kind of gives an example of the kind of grade A Shakespearean like dialogue that you're getting here. But yeah, that was really funny to watch. And then we go back to the club, and these other guys who we've not seen before just turn up to meet the manager, and immediately it doesn't start at like a 2 or a 3 and then work its way up to 10. It starts off at 10. This conversation is immediately fucking angry and up there, and they start on each other. And basically, it seems like these guys were the old band who played at the club.
Oh, God, yeah.
And they attack the promoter, but they all know martial arts. So there's this weird martial arts scene where everybody just knows fucking taekwondo. They're all fighting. And you can tell it's clearly some of it's just improvised because it just feels so unnatural and stilted.
I thought it feels so fluid.
It feels so fluid. These guys are, masters
True
at their
improv.
art.
Yeah.
What are you in here for, man? Waste
Hey, look,
my time?
bitch.
I thought I fired you. What?
You fired me one because of the goddamn dragon sound? That's bullshit. They came in here to play goddamn songs for kids. Now who you bullshit?
They play a lot better than you, man. Your
They play
music's
another
for old
goddamn
people.
kiddie music.
Your music's for old
Hey,
people,
look,
buddy.
fat man, you don't know what music's all about.
I tell you what, are you deaf? You sure don't know how to play, I tell you that.
That's my ass.
Got it?
Tell me,
That's it,
fat
buddy,
man.
your history.
You're full of shit.
You want to go out of here and play, man?
That's so stupid. And then we hear a random phone call to do with a meeting or something. And then we're at a meeting back at the Ninja HQ. And they're like in like Center Parks or something. They're just running around these like wooden like paths that have been made up. They're not even like in the trees or the bushes that much. It's like, what are they doing? Are they training? Or are they just running around? And Jeff is there, and he's now in a suit, and he's meeting this ninja guy. It looks like they're mates, and there's I don't know what's going on. He must be buying the coke or something like that. And this ninja leader keeps going on about his sister. It's like, leave her alone.
Oh,
saying that he's concerned about her.
Yeah, that's bizarre, that part. It's a really, really poorly inserted piece of dialogue. It was awful.
So stupid. And then here comes basically the whole crux of the film, which makes absolutely no sense in terms of the plot, is that he says to Jeff, they have to get rid of the band to control the area. Why?
Why? Because the band just happened to be a highly skilled, trained operation of Taekwondo masters.
But he doesn't know that. What's that? They've not done anything. They're just a band at this point.
Oh yeah, all they've done is stand off in the high school car park.
Yeah, they didn't even fight. All that happened was that they were like, "Hey, leave my friend alone," or whatever, and that's because he punched him. There's no fighting. There was nothing to do with the drug deals, whatever. They need to get rid of the band to control the area. They're not even in. I don't even think they're supposed to be even in that city. So and that's the thing, is this whole thing now rests on this, and it makes absolutely no sense. So, and this is what I love about this film as well, is there's scenes that just fat. There's nothing happening in them, but they're trying to like add a bit of flavour. So they're eating dinner in this completely like superfluous scene, and they're saying how great it is whilst this guy watches, and he's like looking on. And I believe the guy watching who owns the diner is the director. The producer. No, the director. Sorry, of the film.
Nice.
Yeah, who's not YK Kim? It's YK Kim and this other guy, which I'll go on to. But I believe, the other guy is the guy that owns his restaurant. And
Obviously,
so now,
a student of Hitchcock.
Yes, yeah, exactly. His cameo, but it's more than a cameo. He actually gets, he speaks a bit later. But yeah, we're back at another gig.
Finally.
So we're in the club, and they're playing Against the Ninja, which is another classic tune, but now the sister's singing. And I don't know if you know, but it feels like it's almost exactly the same chord structure to Friends Forever.
I mean, they definitely occupy similar spheres of the musical world, these two songs.
But I literally think the guitar part is exactly the same.
It's just different enough, though. And it's got her on lead.
Yeah, true.
How much would you kill for an audience like that as well? I mean, this band can turn up, but they're playing like what? Every night? They seem to be the resident house band of this club, and the club is ram-jammed. Yeah,
loving it. And like everyone's super into it. And yeah, no wonder they're local celebs. Like it looks like it's the only place to go.
It makes Miami in 1987 look like absolute idyllic place to be. Except for what comes later. So they play their gig and they're leaving, but these bad guys are now waiting for them, and it's the old band and their mates or something. But it's weird because like you're not sure if they're like Jeff's guys or not, but because of what happens later, I guess it's not Jeff's guys, even though they're probably double up and they're probably the same actors. Yeah. But I think story-wise, it's just supposed to be the old band and like their mates. It's weird. So they follow them in the car. All these other cars turn up, and then there's this just scene which takes ages where they're just shouting at the band, and the band are just like looking around, like mesmerised by what's going on, like not actually doing or saying anything, just like, huh? I thought it was quiet power. They didn't want to use their fighting skills because obviously they just want to rock. Until, of course, they push their buttons.
Well, yeah, like the main guy slaps a chain across the car and tells him to ride off or something, and then you get a real close up here of YK Kim, and you can see that he is a million years old, and he's just wearing so much makeup to try and hide it. And he's like, "Look, we just work there. It's not our business." And I won't try and do an impression because it'd be very racist, but it's he just has trouble speaking English. Let's say the words aren't pronunciated properly. And then they basically pour beer all over them in the car, and they're like, "Oh, get off."
That's really out of order, that.
Yeah.
That's really the moment where you're like, come on, just kick this fat fucker's ass.
Yeah, and that's what they do. Kicks off. So they've all got like bats and pipes. But yeah, with the power of Taekwondo, they managed to stave them off. And it's that classic thing where there's just people there in the background, like waiting for their turn to be hit.
I really like this scene. It really made me think of like Streets of Rage come to life.
Yeah, that's a good point. It actually is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I thought the action bits, that's the thing is with this film as well, is like, I actually did really enjoy the action sequences.
Yeah.
And this is one of them where I was like, yeah, I'm into this. I can dig this.
Yeah, obviously you have to, suspend disbelief a little bit, like you say. There are people hanging around waiting to get kicked in the midriff.
Yeah.
But they just keep coming, and it's funny.
And I'll tell you what, the music for this bit as well, it's actually really cool. It's quite dark and gothic. It's really, like, tonally quite strange. And, I really enjoyed this bit. It was cool. So, oh God, so this film just has so many weird bits to it. So they get back, and then you realise that they all live together.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Oh, God. This scene. Oh, Jesus.
It's the best. God. It's the best scene. So Jim gets a letter, and Jim is the black guy of the group. He is so strange because he has this really like high-pitched, weird voice. and he's always like topless for some reason. And he gets this letter, and they tease him for fucking ages about this letter, trying to like go to give it to him and then take it away. And it's the bassist, the geeky bassist. And it's way more than it's comfortable, like to the point where it feels like they're properly bullying him. And he's just like, give it back, give it back. And then they go, what's the letter? Who's the letter from?
Well, so they come out, the other guys, and they're like, what are you doing? Trying to wake up the neighbours? And they say this about 3 times. What are you doing? What are you doing?
What is this letter? What is it?
Be like,
stop talking.
What are they doing? The guy's received a letter. Let him read his fucking letter. And they're making this big deal about it, like, oh, you want the letter so much? What's so exciting? What's in the letter? It's just his mail. It could be an invoice for services, for like drumsticks or something. What does he do in the band, that chap? I can't remember.
I think he's keyboard.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Makes sense. Yeah, they keep going on about it. And that's the thing with these like scenes, is when they're like clearly like improvised a bit or whatever. They just talk over each other until someone has the motion to like say the next line of dialogue that will continue the scene or something.
Oh, and in this case, it would have been better if it just carried on in that sort of cycle of poor improv, because we get some of the worst exposition of the film.
Are you kidding? This is probably one of my top moments in this entire fucking film. Jim, this is Jim's monologue.
Hey, Jim, I got a letter for you.
A letter?
It's from Washington, D.C.
Hey, give it to me.
What's the story?
Give it to me.
Huh?
Give
What's
me the
the big
letter.
secret?
Give me the letter. Give me the damn letter now! Give me the letter.
Okay. You can have it.
Give me the letter now.
Get it. Grab it.
Give me the letter!
Try again.
Now!
Jeez, you guys, what's going on out here? What are you trying to do? Wake up the neighbors?
Need to get some work done.
You would have had enough done from that street.
Okay.
All right.
I'll get it. Realize how serious
What's going on here?
You guys trying to wake up the neighbors or
Did you have
what?
satisfaction
Calm
for
down.
one night?
John, what happened? Get enough, I'll tell you.
You guys fighting or what?
What happened? This letter and he's
What letter?
John, what happened?
I don't know. He won't tell me.
Huh?
What happened?
Jim, what is this letter?
Tell us. Go ahead. Tell us.
Why don't you explain to us?
Come on, we're your best friends.
Sorry, I was hiding from this from you guys.
Oh man.
But this looks like your brother. I didn't know you have a brother.
It's my father.
What? This is your real father?
Yes, it is.
You sure?
I didn't know you had a father. I thought we are all orphans.
My mother was Korean. And my father was Black American. She gave me this picture when she was real sick. I was only 9 years old. They say that they loved each other and they were real loyal. We were real happy. But then when he finished military duty, he left. And we never saw him again. She told me to find him. But I didn't like him because he left us. But I knew one day when I grew up I'd find him. Whether he was dead or alive. I sent a couple letters to the Defense Department.
This is Jim pouring out his heart, and apparently in the background, I still haven't looked for it properly. Like, apparently in the background, some of the people are like trying not to laugh. The other,
The acting here is really terrible.
it's really bad, but he's fucking in it. He's like really trying to sell it. So
Yeah.
Jim, by the way, he's got his like jeans unbuttoned as well. His jeans are fucking halfway off. And then, he says, so they've pushed the point that they're all orphans, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Because they're
It's quite a
they're
big deal.
shocked, aren't they? They're shocked by his news
Yeah.
that he's received a letter from
his dad. He's got a dad. My
But they're-
father.
They're
My
not just
father.
shocked. They seem like quite annoyed at first.
Yeah, they're a bit like, you never told us you had a dad. Like, we're all orphans. What the fuck do you mean you've got a dad? But that scene is just so great. It's just so, it comes out of nowhere. It's so uncomfortable. It goes on for ages. It's just it's
Poorly
perfect.
acted.
Yeah, it's so terrible and it's so great at the same time.
Real ham-fisted kind of piece of writing, trying to squeeze this new bit of
And just the guy's
exposition and
voice.
narrative in there. God.
Just the guy's voice itself and the way he's looking. But they're all like, there's this real like homoerotic thing between all of them. It's so weird. And so anyway, now we're in this weird scene and it's a complete tonal shift. We're on a Miami beach. It's all bikinis and ocean. This is like the fucking Baywatch kind of 80s stuff. They're cruising in their car, hassling girls, trying to kiss them. And there's this weird scene where he's like getting beaten up by some girls on the beach.
This was really bad.
So weird.
Well, it's really telling. He really overexposes his like idea of like, oh, this is the comic relief part of the film.
Yeah.
But they didn't think to write anything, so he falls over. And he like falls in between some girls that's sunbathing, and they're kind of like slapping him, going, "Oh, get away, get away!" And he's just sort of like flailing around, and it just goes on
really
and on
wet
and on and on
creepy.
and on. And he's probably thinking, the more it goes on, the funnier it gets.
They're really trying to like fill time with this stuff. It's just so that's the thing, is they keep pushing things to like beyond uncomfortable to just funny uncomfortable. It's so strange.
But it's a bonding moment, isn't it, for the audience with this gang?
Yeah, it's a bit of
Good
levity.
guys.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, it's also a bit creepy, like the way they're just catcalling basically all these women on the beach,
Yeah.
cruising around.
Like driving on the beach as well, which is just weird.
And illegal.
Yeah. And there's all this like horrible kissing in the ocean between Jane and the bassist as well. Which, it's all supposed to be like, oh, it's their, they love each other and all this stuff. Fine. So now it cuts and we're in another gym where people are just working out in like jeans. Like they're not in any workout gear. They just like look like they've just walked off the street or out of, a bloody soup kitchen or something and have just started working out. And then the evil band that we just saw, they come in, they're all bruised up with fake bandages. And some guys just heckling them for no reason, and they say they're here to see Jeff. So the bad, and oh god, again, this doesn't make any sense. The bad guy says that there's in the bad band leader, whatever, says that he'll join their gang, so Jeff's gang, and that if they get rid of the band, he'll give him any money he makes.
Yeah, he hasn't thought that through, really, has he?
Like, what deal is that? You give him any money that you make. Like, isn't the whole point of this?
In
Surely it defeats the
perpetuity.
point. Yeah. Surely the point is that he's in the band to make money. He wants to, whatever. Why is he bothered? And then he points out that this band, which by the way his sister's in, remember, this guy's Jeff's sister, he points out that this band that he wants them to get rid of or whatever are all black belts and they're pretty bad.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's like the next thing. So now the bad band guys are working with Jeff's gang. Okay,
The Coke,
Got
Coke
it.
gang. Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of getting a bit more of a consolidation of bad guys here, which is no
Yeah,
bad thing.
thank God. I was always thinking that from this point on, that I'd like to have heard that band in action.
Yeah,
The bands that have been supplanted as the act at the club by the Dragon, whatever they're called.
yeah. I mean, they look like it could be Hall & Oates, to be honest.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't be too far from it.
I was actually something like, or some kind of like quite plunky, kind of like hillbilly hick rock.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they're quite weird looking. They don't look like they're in any kind of actual band.
And it's been supplanted by this like the slick soul funk stylings of Dragon
sound. So stupid. So now it comes to one of the other great moments of the film, which is the weird training video, which is where we just sit and watch the 3 members of Dragon Sound do some taekwondo moves on the grass. And it's literally just them showing off to camera.
Yeah. It's a good scene. I think it's a necessary scene. Because if you've only seen 6 films and you're basing your movie on them, then you'll know that in every kung fu film, at some point, there's some kind of training montage.
Yeah, but this is literally like almost a tutorial video. But the shots are so clearly staged and fake, and there's like they're not even close to each other. Like when they're kicking each other, it's like his foot's miles away from the guy's face. It's so weird.
They're actors. They're acting. They don't really do this stuff.
Well, that's true. But then one of the most infamous shots is famous, is when he puts his fist into the guy's mouth and holds it there.
I did a double take on that. I really thought, what the hell is that? It's bizarre. Any thoughts?
Weird. I don't know. I don't really understand what that was supposed to prove. It's just this weird thing. And then he picks up the guy I have to say this right. He picks up the guy on the floor with his feet by picking him up with his nose, if that makes sense. He picks the guy up from his nose with his feet. So he pinches the guy's nose or whatever between his toes and lifts him up.
Again, like I said, it's an audacious conceit, this film, with some audacious scenes. Execution.
Is that a move? Is that a taekwondo move? The nose pinch lift? So fucking weird. So after you get this stupid training sequence, they have a little chat afterwards, and they talk about we should maybe put some breaking boards on stage. That would be cool. Nothing about the music, by the way. Even though they're a band, they're more concerned about the visuals of what they're going to be doing. And the other guy says that he's hesitant to play there again, and they think they should stand up for themselves because they need the money. And they talk about the band being their family, and this is kind of like the heart-to-heart thing. And then YK Kim says Taekwondo is practiced by everyone in Korea. And, now they're talking about playing a world tour and visiting the roots where their parents came from and all this stuff, basically spreading the word of Taekwondo, which in a real meaningful way is what YK Kim is actually trying to do. He's trying to spread the message of how Taekwondo, can help heal the world. And he sincerely seems to believe that. Now they're asking... they're talking about the guy who owns the restaurant. They're asking where he is. And then we cut to this scene, and it's this hoodlums in the restaurant. And one guy is just wearing a pair of pants, basically. So weird. And they basically walk out without paying, and the restaurateur stops them, and they start on him. And so he starts doing some Taekwondo stuff. And then the band turn up too late. But, the restaurateur's been able to, get them, see them off.
It's another great moment. It's one of those ones where it's like you think you're looking at the underdog, but because they've got the power of Taekwondo, he just beats the crap out of them all.
Yeah,
and it's fantastic.
And they deserved it.
Just another little good, feel-good moment in the film where you're like, yes. And he's got that ridiculous, Mickey and Minnie Mouse apron on.
Don't remember that.
I thought it was a really nice touch.
Yeah, and again, that's supposed to be I believe that's the director. I could be wrong. Oh God, it's so weird. And then we're going back to the stage and the music again, and now we're seeing YK Kim pretended to kick people on stage. He just looks like an annoying little cunt, really. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. But he does say, it's like, we're trying to play music, mate. And then he does his nose thing again. He's leading someone by the nose. I think it's Jim leading him by the nose. They're all like really happy. I'd be like, get your fucking foot out of my nose, dick. The fuck is wrong with you? Stop it.
Dear.
Got stuff to play. You're doing leading me by the nose. It's so degrading. It's not even a move. What is it?
Oh, God. Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, and this is all while they're doing, like, this restaurateur guy is giving this, impassioned speech to him about Taekwondo or whatever. Oh, it's so ridiculous. So now after the show again, we get basically the exact same thing that happened like 20 minutes ago, which is that they get like a note about meeting them downtown. And, so now we're gearing up to this, another fight. And so then now we're at Jeff's gym. Jane turns up, the sister, and says that she wants to continue seeing the bassist guy. She loves him, and she wants Jeff to leave them all alone. And Jeff explains how he thinks that this bassist guy and the band are a distraction. He pays for her, basically, and he wants her to focus on her school. And he doesn't want her seeing this bassist guy again. So instead of actually like standing up to him, instead she just calls him terrible and leaves, which makes it sound like she's kind of almost accepted it. I don't know. It's weird. It's not really. It doesn't really come to any real conclusion. It's just reinforcing stuff that it's already kind of been established. So now Jeff and his guys are waiting for Dragon Sound to turn up because of this note on the car. So just that's weird, like the timeline of it all. Yeah, and what I love is that the evil band guy, the lead guy, is clearly trying to hold in his stomach as he's sitting there in his jeans with his top off or whatever. So yeah, Dragon Sound rock on up, and there's another fight scene, and just everyone just looks so unfit. Like the bad guys, they just look awful. They've not done any exercise ever. And yeah, so the cops turn up and they all disperse. And apparently they were real cops. So I hear.
Wow.
Yeah, a little tidbit there. And so now this scene is also super great. So now the motorcycle ninjas are cruising and they blend into an actual biker gang, as in like a real life biker gang. And yeah, you can tell they're clearly a real biker gang because they look like it. And this lead ninja guy is just so effeminate that he just stands out like a sore thumb. He's got this like white little scarf on around his neck for a start, and he's trying to fit in and be a bit macho and stuff. But it's just so awkward and uncomfortable to watch, but great at the same time. And then Jeff turns up. They have a drink, and literally they say, after saying, "Let's not talk business," the very next cut, they immediately start talking business. The whole point of this scene is so that the leader can say that he's concerned that Dragon Sound haven't been dealt with yet. And that's it. I have no idea why he's bothered. What's he mad? Has he got better things to do?
I honestly think some of those scenes, it's like he is replicating other scenes from more famous films.
Yeah.
Like, he's gone, in Scarface, there's a bit where they have, they meet up and discuss business around a deal or something.
Yeah.
And I better do something without, the bad guys talking.
Yeah, that's it. Or they've just came across a biker gang, or like, quick, let's film something here. This is cool. So now we're back at the orphanage, otherwise known as this random house full of the band. And yeah, they're doing their homework and all this stuff, and they're writing literally sheet music, as in literal music. And it's like, what I love is that the singer guy's like, it says to YK Kim, who I think is called Mark, I can't remember. He's like, what do you think? And he goes, it looks good. Looks good. Sheet music. Like, if anyone showed me if they showed me like, I can't read music, I can read like guitar tablature or whatever. If someone showed me guitar tablature, was like, what do you think? But it looks good. I fucking know it's music, you idiot. Looks good. Like you can immediately tell. And then so YK Kim I think his name's Mark. I'm going to just call him Mark from now on. He's feeding everyone grapes straight into their mouth, which is just fucking weird.
It's not a great moment.
And also, like, I'm not paying attention to what's being said. I'm just watching him going around, putting grapes to everyone's mouth and thinking, is he going to do it to everyone? Am I literally going to watch him do it? And for some reason, it's so mesmerising. But yeah, they're just having breakfast and talking about nothing, and that's the scene. End of the scene. Right, okay. So now they're back at school, people are shaking their hands, the celebs. Jeff's goons, I mean, how many times can we do this? Jeff's goons are waiting for them again in the parking lot. They are followed again. But it starts raining, so they go into the restaurant while the mustachioed guy parks the car. He gets kidnapped, and they're like, Mark's going to get you. And they beat him up a bit and they lock him away. And so Jane turns up, the sister, like, yo, what have you done? What have you done with him? And basically they're just hitting on her, all the other guys. They're like, oh, look at you, hey, whatever. So she asked to see the guy, but instead she just walks out. So not sure why that scene's even in there, but okay, I think they just wanted to make it that she was trying to see if she could get him out or whatever, but failed.
Yeah.
And then there's this weird scene where it's quite funny, another fight scene, but Tom, I think his name is, the mustachioed guy, is tied up to an electric tower or something with Jeff watching, and they're waiting for Dragon Sound to turn up. And they do turn up to save him, and they're like, it's a series of basic vignettes of them quietly taking everyone out. But they're like killing people. They're like critically injuring people, slicing their necks open. And it's like they've taken no prisoners at the moment. One guy at one point slams into a plastic bucket and snaps it in half, which is just ridiculous. Another one is hiding in a bin. Just hiding in a bin and just comes out and attacks. How long was he waiting there for? So funny. Like, what are you doing? I'm going to hide in this bin, and on the off chance that someone might come near, I don't have to take a step. So ridiculous.
It's quite sinister, the parts of this scene, though, especially when they've got what's his name? The guy that's been kidnapped.
Tom,
with the mustache, the lead singer.
Yeah.
And he's like being bound to that pillar.
Yeah.
There's something quite religious about it. It's like this wrought face of just like pain and anguish.
Yeah.
It really gets you quite emotional. And again, it's another one of those scenes where you're like, come on, they get in there and they're going to rescue him. And like you say, breaking people, hurting people, chopping people open. And you think, about bloody time. Because they've just gone too far. Real. They've gone too far.
Exactly. They've taken one of their own. You don't do that. It's ridiculous. So now Jeff's now getting involved, and he has some kind of like stick with lots of nails on it. It's not like a bat. It's just a stick with nails in, and he's got one in each hand. It's like the weirdest weapon. I literally don't know what it is. But yeah, and then so they now get up to this like tower, whatever it is, and Mark knocks Jeff off and kills him.
I was waiting for him to get back up again or something, because it wasn't that big a fall.
Yeah, but no, he's dead.
Yeah,
that's his bandmate's brother. Just killed him.
Well, not just. Oh, Mark, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Mark that did it.
Yeah, Mark did it.
He's dead.
So he's dead. Yeah.
That feels like a concluding point to the movie in a way, because he's been set up as the big bad guy, the villain of the piece, and that's it. Bam, gone.
But that's not the end of the film. Instead, the White Ninja, he's sitting there with his guys, and he gets word that Jeff is dead. And now this White Ninja guy decides that his death must be avenged. So they go across this like children's adventure playground or wherever they're based. It's a stupid fucking park. And they're literally jumping over the actual obstacles that are in this park, like wooden walkways and stuff. They're not even pretending like it's an actual ninja training ground. It's so weird. And now this is another one of my favourite bits, because it's with Jim, I think it is, back at Dragon Sound HQ, and he's got another letter from his father, and he goes, "My father! Oh my God! They found my father!" It's like literally his voice is like up there.
My father! My father! I found my father! Oh my God! What? What'd you say? My God, picture! Look at it! Look at it!
Okay.
God, let me see picture! This is the guy. Oh, father, you got it! Good, great! Oh my God!
That's great. We'll take it.
Orlando
Hey,
Airport!
Mark, we'll take it.
Tomorrow evening! Hey, Jim, finally got it! God! How much money you left in the bank?
I have about 200.
200 altogether? I have $50 left.
I get about 60.
Okay, what's your best store? Where?
Yeah.
Right,
You need to buy food.
Look at my salad, Taylor.
That's good! Yeah, take the man! Oh!
And they're all so happy that he's going to meet his dad, and they pour their money together to buy him a suit, and they raise him up on their shoulders, and it's all slow-mo like he's won a boxing match. It's so fucking ridiculous in OTT.
It's such a funny scene. Yeah, it's like suddenly it becomes a scene from Rags to Riches story, where they're all going around and they're fitting in for a suit, and you just know as well, you're like, yeah, this isn't going to end well for him.
No, they're really setting this up for a fall. But he does, he looks the business. Jane is there. And yeah, she seems quite happy that Jim has found his father, and she seems to be cool with the fact that her brother just got murdered by her bandmate.
It's one of my favourite bits of the film. So her boyfriend, the lanky bass guy, he doesn't address it. They don't just they
do talk about it.
They don't just paper over it. They talk about it, and the extent of that discussion is, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry about what happened to your brother, but had to happen." And she kind of goes, "It's okay, I'm just so happy for Jim that he's found his father." We have to be strong now for Jim.
That's exactly what happens. She even apologises that she's been gone for so long. She says, "Oh, she's hurting. She loves him, the bassist guy, whatever, so much." She says she understands, and it's all over now. It's your fucking... You found your father, Jim. That's what matters.
And we as the audience are like, lovely, tie it all up in a bow and relax and just enjoy a happy ending.
Yeah, but not quite. What I love in this scene as well is that Jim is just creepily looking on at them. It's just so weird. They keep hugging everyone. It's like, just go, just fuck off already. Get in the car. So here we go. Yeah, we're coming into the end game now. So motorcycle ninjas turn up in their ninja outfits, and literally when the band see them coming, they go, "Oh, ninjas."
At this point, they've beaten everyone so soundly that no one really poses a threat. And they don't even bother, the director doesn't bother to make it look like anyone's a threat. They literally go, look, we're on our way to the airport. We've got to get a flight.
This is important. But yeah, they say it as if like it's just started raining or something.
Yeah.
Oh, how annoying, what a nuisance.
Yeah.
So yeah, we then see a confrontation. It's some kind of confrontation, but it's been shot behind some bushes. You can't actually see what's happening. It's so weird. It's just been poorly directed and just been completely fluffed up. And they've had to try and mangle together some footage and continue the story. And so now they're suddenly running through this park to take on the ninjas. And this is where it starts getting crazy. It starts going really weird. So basically Jim, as you can probably tell, bad stuff happens. He gets sliced across the chest, and he literally screams for ages, like, Jim! Jim! Fucking ages. What is great about this entire sequence is you can actually see members of the public in the background just watching what's happening.
It's really weird, this, because obviously they were driving to the airport, they were on the road and were stopped and confronted by the ninjas. And then suddenly, they somehow managed to make their way down into this, like, suddenly it looks like Vietnam. It's like Platoon or something.
Yeah.
And they're running around through all the water. And and it keeps cutting, doesn't it? Cutting. And it just feels like there's people running. And there's the three of these guys from the band. And then there's like all these like anonymous ninjas. The whole thing's totally like confusing. But again, like it's got the energy and the kind of silly excitement of the whole film. Yeah,
and it's like, it's just a pure bloodbath now at the moment. So they drag Jim through a river, and John, I think his name is, the bassist, takes the rest on. He gets a sword and he's just straight up murdering people.
Yeah,
not even thinking twice. And they're like now in this like weird like blood frenzy for like Jim just getting a slice across the chest. They're now like, right, we're going to fucking kill everyone.
Well, they're
John's
angry.
Got his shirt off. He's covered in blood. It's like on fucking Rambo.
Well, that's it. It's the slaying of Jim. It's it. It's like, because everything was coming together for him. He's going to finally meet his dad. He's got his like new suit on. He's all happy, and it's just so crushingly tragic. And they just snap.
Yeah.
And he employs some kind of like Apocalypse Now kind of the director techniques, sorts of slow-mo. It's like, they've really snapped suddenly.
Yeah.
Slow-mo, some like tight kind of like zooms on the gawky, ugly, gangly guy's face.
Yeah.
Now he's all like, his face is like smeared in mud and he's lost it. And
it's gone feral.
I wonder at this point, are they still employing the beautiful art of Taekwondo?
I don't know. Does Taekwondo involve swords? It's just,
It's just a bloodbath.
Well, this is it. So just remember this bloodbath, because there's going to be an important message at the end of the film that you should take notice of. So the next bit is the white ninja. He's just sitting there, and he gets told that ninja comes up and goes, "Everybody's dead." So the white ninja chops off the messenger's head. And just starts laughing. It's like, what? Okay, all right.
He's a bad dude.
He's a bad dude, and I think clearly that footage has come from something else or whatever. So now it's Mark versus this white ninja, who is now clearly another actor, and I think it's actually the bassist in just some white sheets. I'm pretty sure, but it's definitely a Caucasian guy. Wearing what almost looks like a hazmat suit or something. It doesn't look like, it's definitely not. It's not even the same clothes. And this is the final showdown, and he kills the white ninja. And then we now see Mark and John running around in slow mo, dramatic music. Them all going, "Come on!" But they take Jim. They survive. They take Jim to the hospital, and the dad's there, who looks younger. And the reason why he looks younger is because he is younger than Jim. And I think they literally put talcum powder or something in his hair to make him look older.
And his moustache.
It was like they didn't know any other black people. It was like, well, we only know one other black person, and he's like 10 years younger than our Jim guy. So it'll be fine. Just stick some talcum powder. He looks older now. Look, it's fine. And he's suddenly like really concerned about his son, and the dad says, he's going to make right what he did wrong. He thanks Mark, and Mark says he'll do anything for Jim, and Jim's wheeled out and he's looking great, and they all say that they love each other. No one will mess with their band again. Everyone is safe, so they all go home. And with the ending that says, God, what is it? Only through the elimination of violence can we achieve world peace. And then credits. Bearing in mind, we have just had an absolute bloodbath of slaughter of pure violence.
Yeah.
And then the message is that we mustn't do anything violent. The elimination of violence is what it is. It's like, you've killed everyone. You've literally just killed everyone. And that's it. It's the end. That's the end of the film.
Yeah, there were some problems with this final scene.
Were there? Really?
One of the parts that I really enjoyed was when Jim is wheeled out. And the father said, so this is the first time that he's seen his son in, what have we been led to believe? Like 30 years, 20 years, something like this.
That.
And he delivers the most unnatural, robotic, staid kind of
very flat
line. He goes, "Oh, now that I've seen how committed your friends are to you, I also love you." And then he just sort of like puts his hand on his shoulder and gives him a squeeze. And Jim's just like, he couldn't be happier. It's actually quite sad. It's tragic.
Yeah.
It's like vacant father, and Jim's just like so desperate. And yeah, it's awful. It's just, that is like, whoever wrote this, YK Kim, it's just tried to use the scene to basically put across all the points that he's tried to across the whole film in the most ham-fisted, unnatural way possible.
Mm-hmm.
I think I thought it was a real shame and a bit of a cheap out that they didn't have Jim die.
Well, the original ending was with Jim dying.
Oh, really?
And then they had to go back and shoot some extra bits because, apparently he got told by whoever distributed it. I'll probably come on to that a bit later. I've got it written down somewhere, I think. Said that that wasn't a good enough ending. Had to have a better resolution.
That's a terrible resolution because you can't have your cake and eat it. So they've already set up the whole he dies and we get all the emotional drama of that, dying in his suit on the way to the airport. It's awful. But then it's like, hey, and he's okay again now.
He's fine.
And we can have the happy reunion with the dad, the robotic dad, who's 10 years younger than him, smothered in talcum powder. And it just doesn't know. And it cheapens that previous moment that was so powerful.
Yeah, well, you can watch the alternative ending on YouTube. I'll put a link in the show notes as well, if I remember. But you can check it out, and it's... maybe you might prefer it that way. So that was the film. So I'm going to talk a little bit about its background and how it even got made in the first place.
Christ.
So it was made in 1987, and Richard Park, who's the director, who's actually called Park Woo-sang, but obviously he changed his name to appeal more to an American audience. He saw YK Kim on a Korean talk show called Meet at 11 p.m, I think it was called, in 85. And he was promoting his book about Taekwondo, and they had a chat. And Park, said, oh, you should make a film. So Park had conceptualised the story whilst watching Kim's interview. And then they... basically, the working title was called Taekwondo. It was all going to be about Taekwondo. And so YK Kim borrowed money from friends. He took out loans, spent all of his savings, mortgaged his Taekwondo school to finance the film. Never made a film before, obviously. And he almost went bankrupt. And apparently some people said that it was up to almost $1 million got sunk into that film. Which is crazy when you think about it. And now he's actually a motivational speaker, and he's doing quite well. But yeah, he didn't even know that he had to have a screenplay. He didn't even know he had to have a screenplay, so they made it up on the day.
So hang on, wait. What?
Yeah.
What did he think?
He didn't know. He didn't know. He'd never made a film. He hardly watched films. Had no idea. He didn't realise you had to have a screenplay or a script.
What did he think was going to happen? They were just going to...
Yeah, just film stuff.
Just film naturally, divine intervention.
Yeah, which is kind of what happened. And he was allowed to shoot around. It's all shot in Orlando, and because he was a bit of a local figure there, and the sheriff department loved him apparently, and they just let him do what he wanted, basically, in Orlando, which was nice. But yeah, as you can imagine, he wanted it to be like a big film. All the studios rejected it. A lot of the film distributors hated it. They thought it was trash. And yeah, he did some more refilming for bits and pieces, like the ending, for instance, reworked some portions of it, and then a distribution company purchased the film for $100,000, which is pretty good, but not good for him because obviously he sunk so much money into it.
10% of his.
Yeah, exactly, of his
budget.
Bloody budget. Yeah. And he wanted to make a film, a kind of a love letter to Taekwondo. It opened to 8 theatres in Orlando, and he thought it would be a blockbuster, but it ended after 3 weeks. Because people said that was calling it one of the worst films of all time.
I mean, I feel a little bit sorry for the guy. He obviously had good intentions, and the film has got a heart. But at the same time, you got to laugh at a fool falling flat on their face, frankly.
Yeah, exactly. Ridiculous. But in 2009, a guy at the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema in Austin, Texas, which is quite a well-known cinema, basically found the film on eBay. He made a blind $50 bid and he won it. He screened the film in Austin and found that people loved it from beginning to end. So he gave the film to the creative director of Drafthouse Films and Alamo Drafthouse Cinemas, their distribution division, and they sought YK Kim's permission to re-release the film, and he thought that they were taking the piss. Thought they were playing a joke on him, but he went along with it, and apparently it did really well. It was people packing out watching it. YK Kim's dream finally, 20 years later, finally came true. And yeah, it's done the film festival circuit a bit. It's become a bit of a cult film in its own right. Some people have called it, action adventure musical, which I can kind of see. So it's been a lot more well received now that it's been re-released, and people can kind of look at it with a different set of eyes, and it's totally got appreciated more for the heartfelt, lovely little gem that it is.
Yeah, but also there's more of a market for the so bad it's good.
Yes, which is the best thing ever, which is what I love.
Thing is, it's parts of it are so bad it's good. Parts of it are so bad it makes you cringe. But then some parts are so awesome that it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what makes a great bad film is like the belief behind it. If it's like a lazily, poorly crafted film, then it's just bad. But if there's some kind of love or self-belief behind it, like in this case, then that's really when it works. And I think especially in the current climate, we get a bit sick of people telling us what's good and what's not. And this, with the Oscars, like Oscar films have to be a certain way, they have to deal with certain topics, and they're quite bland. And that's the problem, is that a lot of these Oscar films it's just a certain it's like a genre almost as of itself, and we're told that they're the best films. We're told that they're really good, but to be honest, I would watch this 100 times than want to watch Shape of Water or something. Again,
yeah, it's a sincere film made by someone lacking in technical ability, but he does enough to get across his vision.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we're kind of there's that thing with the whole, not to get political, but like the whole Brexit thing of experts, and we don't want to listen to experts anymore. And I know it's ridiculous, but I think we do get a bit sick of people telling us what we should like and not like, especially in the times of where we can choose what we want to see. We're not tied to a TV schedule of when we can watch things. And it's sometimes that we just want something that doesn't keep ticking all those boxes. It does something a bit different. And, you know, this is stylized, it's fun, it's ridiculous. It doesn't take itself so, you know, too seriously all the time, like a lot of these Oscar films do, and a lot more serious, more, you know, good films would do. And people like the fact that it's got made in the first place. It's a time where films, you know, even half decent or completely awful, they could still get made.
Yeah.
And there's a connection with like that everyman trying to make his dream happen. It's, you know, people find that fascinating. It's not everything is a critic darling. Sometimes it can be shit and entertaining, even if it's ironic. And this is kind of an example of that. And that's why I like it, really.
Absolutely, yeah. People should do more to, you know, make use of the fact that we've got the internet and can just seek out anything, really. You just have to have a bit of imagination.
Yeah.
What else would you recommend to people then that liked this film, with that in mind?
Ooh. I mean, the go-to, if people haven't seen it already, is something like The Room.
Yeah.
Which is the ultimate good, bad film. And I know someone who was in it, actually, funny enough. She might be listening to this, Robin. And she's got a series at the moment, which I will happily plug, which is called The Room Actors, Where Are They Now? And they've just done their second series of stuff. So yeah, go check that out because it's quite funny. It's not the main room actors. It's basically everyone apart from Tommy and Greg. But yeah, that would be, if you like that or you think that sounds good, yeah, you should watch The Room because that is a laugh a second. And in exactly the same tonal way as this, like the lead person can't even really speak English properly. Like it's poorly shot and filmed and directed. It doesn't make sense. The plot's everywhere, but it's still like a bit of a gem that's in there. And I still love it. I think it's great.
Yeah. Shaolin Soccer?
That's a weird one. Yeah.
You seen that?
Yeah, what made you think that?
Well, you know, that's not been made badly. That's kind of, you know, it's very self-aware. It's a little bit kind of tongue-in-cheek. But, you know, it's got the fighting.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
And
Yeah,
it's very silly, funny, quite inventive. There's a lot of heart in that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. That's a comedy, and it wears that on its sleeve. Whereas this isn't. This isn't supposed to be a comedy. Maybe, like as you said before at the beginning, watch Scarface. Like that 80s decadence. You know, the kind of antithesis to something like imagine watching Miami Connection and Scarface immediately afterwards. Two very different versions of what was going on in Miami at that time.
It makes me wonder, like, I'll have to go and watch the trailers, like how this was promoted. But can you imagine, because I don't know, when did Scarface come out? Around that time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit earlier. I think Scarface is like 83, 84.
Yeah, so can you imagine, like, oh, great, it's another film about the, cocaine dealing in Miami, rocking up and expecting something of that level.
Motorcycle ninjas. This wasn't Scarface.
I'm sure there's loads of trauma films around this time that, you know, kind of employ similar tactics. Although again, they're lower quality in a way and too silly.
Yeah, and again, they like know that they're trying to be funny.
Yeah.
This doesn't. This is and that's what makes it even funnier. It's like a Tim and Eric thing. But obviously Tim and Eric is a comedy, but like it plays with that idea of, you know, what people deem is good when they put their heart and soul into stuff, and as part of the humour of it is that it's supposed to be quite serious. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Have you seen Troll 2? One of the no, but that's supposed to be a classic cult movie.
That was like number one on the worst rated films, wasn't it? Of IMDb, and then they made a documentary about that. I think it's called The Best Worst Movie.
Okay,
so I've seen that, and I've seen Troll 2. It was quite a while ago, but in the documentary they speak to the director, and I think his wife wrote the script. Right. And it's just completely ludicrous. It's about goblins, but that was meant to also be a serious horror film, but with a very heartfelt environmental message.
Jesus.
And they speak to the director, and he's really annoyed that it's not been taken seriously. It's great.
That makes it all the better.
Yeah.
We'll be trying to do more films like this anyway. So, do keep watching. So that's it, I think. Dan, where can people find you?
If you're interested in music, you can go to Dreadful Discs. That's my Instagram handle. And I think you can look for me there under the same name on the old YouTube.
YouTube.
That one. Yeah.
And if you want to keep up to date with stuff, you can follow us on Instagram at A New Winter, Twitter at A New Winter. If you want to become a patron, you can do if you go to patreon.com/A New Winter. And I've got a bit of a nice surprise in that I'll be doing an episode on Dark Souls 2 with fellow podcaster Gary Butterfield, who does Bonfireside Chat and Watch Out for Fireballs. He's part of duckfeed.tv, and he's one of the more well-known Dark Souls fanboys out there, who also runs a popular, probably the most popular Dark Souls podcast. So I'm really excited to kind of get into the nitty-gritty a bit with Dark Souls 2 with him. Dan, do you want to play Dark Souls sometime?
Yeah, of course. I don't know what it is, but it sounds smashing.
Oh, it's smashing, all right. So thanks everyone for listening, and see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
This band is the only family I had.
They're all black belts in Taekwondo and they're pretty bad.
I want you to mess it up by going out with a second-rate musician like that John character.
They came in here to play goddamn songs for kids! We will stop the senseless killing. We will stop the senseless killing. We'll even not the
Not escape the Miami Ninja!
against the ninja. We will fight the battle to win against the ninja. We will fight to battle the sin against the ninja. Against the ninja.
Boss, everybody stood.
Friends through eternity, loyalty, honesty will stay together through thick or thin. Friends forever will be together. We're up top 'cause we play to win. My father! I found my father! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!